Roll.
All right, well, welcome to Sunday number 6 of our 7-sermon series of the angels in the book of Revelation. Wonderful explanations in Swedenborg's writings on the book of Revelation and the deeper meaning of those. Swedenborg has a gift to give the world on an invitation to consider ideas that will be shared in this series for our lives. This is Angel of Philadelphia, and this is a special day because our convention will be meeting this coming summer in that area to celebrate our 200th anniversary as a convention. So this angel will be present. And just in case you're wondering, this angel is with you every day. All right, so this angel spoke to the city of Philadelphia. This city, of all the 7 cities, was the last to be founded as a city. And it represents our most mature spiritual state. Yes, this angel is with you in very important ways every day, and we'll talk about that. A little bit of historical significance, which has spiritual implication big time. First of all, notice what the hands are doing of this angel. Where is the left hand? What is it doing?
Resting?
Yes, and resting on. What would you call that?
A pillar.
A pillar. Would you call that a pillar?
Well,
Yes, you would. You're very smart. I think I would have liked to have been a teacher.
you are.
Well, I am a teacher. I'm also very much a learner. And this angel is leaning the left hand on a pillar, which represents geographical and historical significance. And I'll tell you why in just one second. What is the other hand doing?
Holding a book.
Yes, and this is that book of life that we talked about previously. So this angel is representing your most mature self. This angel is feeding you every moment with very specific gifts from the Lord. And I think you'll really be touched by what that is. This angel is with you. Now, in the history of this city of Philadelphia, the people lived on wide open plains. They did not live deep within the city. Does anybody know why? This is unusual and unlike any other of the cities. The reason being that in Philadelphia at this time, of course, the Romans were in control. And in 17 CE, which is the Common Era in the year of our Lord, there was a massive earthquake. And of course, the pillars destroyed. And not only was there one massive earthquake, but there were many aftershocks for years, and Philadelphia was the epicenter of all of that. That meant to be safe, people had to live out on the open plains and not within the heart of the city. Interesting. And yet, this angel and this city represents the most mature spiritual state. So on the external plane, what's happening? Chaos, lack of safety, lack of rest, people fearing that they will be killed in the aftershocks. Vulnerability, very good. Yes, yes. So historically, we have a city in ruins, but yet the people of Philadelphia were extremely faithful. They had qualities of endurance. Do you ever feel like you're just about ready to give up? Guess who keeps you from doing that? You have a friend. Of course, say the Lord ultimately is the friend. He is your friend. And comes because of the way love moves. Love moves through others. It doesn't act alone. If you ever claim credit for loving somebody, you're not loving them. Tricky thing, isn't it? Love moves in multiples. Love moves through God and others. Nothing is really yours to own. So this angel knows that in order to endure the tumult of earthquakes on the physical plane, one must be very connected to the divine. That's what this angel knows. That's what this angel gives you. And so far, as I've reflected on this series with you, I confess that I'm doing my own self-evaluation, and I realize that as these angels have been given to you each week, that one thing I need to do better is help us to realize that these aren't just ideas. This is a presence, and it's not just from history. You know, and in the New Age movement, of course, you hear, talk to your angels, right? But if we really do reflect on the nature of reality and who the Lord is and the way love moves, which is in multiples, we realize that this is a presence. So these angels are given to us, and this angel in particular gives you endurance when you're ready to give up on your job, when you're ready to give up on a relationship, when you're ready to give up on yourself. This one moves in. When everything and all of the pillars crumble, this one doesn't. And gives you that strength. Knows that the Lord's truth, divine truth, not earthly knowledge, not human intellectual acumen, but divine truth is what gives us the strength, the rock-solid faith to keep going. That's what these folks represent in Philadelphia. This is the most mature, as I've said, the most rock-solid of the angel presences with us. So Emanuel Swedenborg would suggest that this is the most blessed city, the most blessed city and the most blessed state of being. Because, why? Because when you are in this place, you realize that everything of divine truth that you can grasp, everything that you know that has high value, comes not from you. That's such a huge, it's probably the most important point of the quality of this angel. A recognition that divine truth comes not at all through you. You can relax. It's not up to you. And nothing ever centers around you. So the Philadelphian knows that divine wisdom flows through and doesn't stay in one place. Remember, the divine love acts in multiples. So everything that moves through you is meant not only for your blessing, but in many, many ways, it moves through you for others. And therein lies the relief you can feel that it's not all up to you. And it's not all up to me. Yes?
A question, just a clarification.
Yeah.
From history, they talk about the oracle at Delphi, and I know philo means love of, so is this like prophecy, love of prophecy?
Love of
Because I know it's part of
prophecy?
Christianity, you know, I mean.
I don't know if it would be
wondering
love
about
of prophecy, but I would say where I would connect with that statement is that there is in the Philadelphian,
Yeah.
there is love of divine truth, which is timeless.
The only reason I thought about it is it's part of Revelation, which is,
Yes,
you know, being
yes.
used. you know.
Yeah, and again, prophecy is a tricky thing because we tried to control a lot of that.
Yeah.
And this particular angel, and now we're going to get even to a deeper level, because let me rhetorically ask this question, and just for you to kind of ruminate for a moment. What is divine truth? Well, at the most earthly level, it's the four Gospels. It's what we find in the four Gospels. At a middle level, what is divine truth? Divine truth is genuine inspiration. Think about Viktor Frankl coming through the concentration camps, what he wrote about having the choice on how you suffer. That's inspired, genuine truth. Martin Luther King Jr. Who else would you say? Who has given humanity? Gandhi.
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa. So that is also divine truth. So we have the truth that we read that touches us in the Gospels. We have genuine inspiration. Are you ever inspired by someone in your life? By your spouse? Are you inspired by your child? Are you inspired by your piano teacher? Wink, wink. Are you inspired by your political professor? Are you inspired by your grandma, your grandpa? By your friend? Genuine inspiration. And then, of course, you have divine truth, and we haven't fully gotten there yet, but Swedenborg would invite you to consider that another deeper level of what is divine truth would be standing before divine light and life as an experience in the spiritual world. So Maynard and Joey are they're ahead of us, right? Ruthie? Deanie? Who else? Mary Crenshaw. I was thinking about Mary Crenshaw last night.
Grace.
Grace. Peg. Jim Tranjo. Kitty. So they're standing at that level of divine truth. So there's all kinds of, what's that? So divine truth manifests itself in the Gospels through inspiration, genuine inspiration, and also as we move on into a spiritual realm where our loved ones are now, shining as light and experience. So we know what that's like. I'd like to open for just a brief question. If anybody has a thought on this. The question is, have you ever been in the presence of someone who was so humble that you just felt that that person had a foundation? They were kind of steady. They were, in a very good way, kind of steadfast in the presentation of themselves. They're just always humble, gentle, meek, not in fragile ways meek, but in a sense of humility, of a recognition of something much larger than themselves. And if you had, who was it?
George Dole.
George Dole. Yeah. Anybody know George Dole in this room? Yeah. Reverend Bray. Reverend Bray. The Philadelphian is a person who is in touch with God as the most humble of beings. And it's kind of strange because I don't know if you ever, when you're praying or you're thinking about God, you think of God as this huge, powerful, omnipowerful, present being, almost untouchable. Can move mountains if it is God's will. You get the sense of awesomeness of God. And yet, and it kind of quakes, if you will, it quakes the natural mind to think that this awesome being is also the most humble. That is Philadelphia in an earthquake. The human intellect cannot grasp that the creator of all that is also the most humble being.
She comes as a baby.
Comes as a baby.
That's pretty humble.
Last night at the Salvation Army concert, there was a choral piece that was so touching. And what I loved was the sound of the music as well as the words that this beautiful white lamb walks out of the snow to us. So the creator of all that is, who has all the power in the universe to destroy and to create, is the most humble being ever. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, our Son. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich, because of what the Lord has done for us. Give thanks. I will give you a new name. And that name will be the New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven from God. I will write divine truth on your heart, so that any time you speak the truth you know from your love in your heart, you know the Holy One is moving through you. We're in the midst of a big change. We all know it. There's a lot being shook up. Philadelphia is crumbling. The gift of this message is though things are shook, that the pillars are crashing down and change is all around us. The angel is saying endurance, steadfast faith, be patient, trust me. Trust me. That is the message.